what did I see in this chart that allowed me to go long in here? What did I see? Nothing. I didn't see anything in this particular chart. I saw it in the S&P. Before I leave this chart, I want you to think about how that high was around 14,620, and it was this candle here I got out at, that one right there. Then it retraced a little bit, and then went higher, pressed into the ultimate longer term high, sweeping the buy side there. Let's take a look at the S&P. S&P, similar situation here. High, that's the best case scenario for the day. This high here, that's where it could reach for, 830. We're right here. What's the point of expecting to go above that? Not much. We want to see some kind of a protraction. So the market, yes, it went above that short-term high and then went lower than that low, yes. But watch what happens. It trades below it, comes back up, and look at all the volatility and the sloppiness inside this area here. Then the market starts to rally. So the draw on liquidity is going to be here. It took out sell side here. So let's look inside this price action and see if there's any details that would lead to a run into that, we'll call it the 44.95 level. Okay. So the 2-minute chart, this is what I was using. The market trades below the old low, as we see here. I apologize, the screenshot. I wish I wouldn't have had these things on it, but you can look at your 2-minute chart on TradingView and you'll see this a little bit more clear. I apologize. But this low candle, it's high. Then we have one candle up. The next candle is low. There's your fair value gap. That's the run in here. So we have displacement low and displacement high. Is there a market structure shift bullish? Yes. It trades up. Love it. And you look for the fair value gap. Is there one in here? No. Anything in here? No. How about here? No, it's closed in with this move down here. But we have this. So we trade down into it here. At 1036, that candle forms. That's a long in S&P. Now, compare that with this fair value gap in the S&P. We traded below the old low. We took sell side out. We have a shift in market structure on the S&P. These averages tend to move in tandem. So that means they generally move in the same direction. So I'm looking at the Dow, even though you don't see me trading it, I'm looking at it. I'm also looking at the S&P, even though I'm favoring the NASDAQ because its volatility and its movement is more than the S&P. Other traders might be fearful of the volatility and say, oh, I don't want to trade that. It's too fast for me. I am loving this because I know how to trade. I can work within that volatility because I know what I'm looking for. I know the signatures the algorithm is going to put out. So until I get these signatures, I have to wait or put leaders into the marketplace, which is what I'm going to show you when I show you my live account results today. But at 1036, let's go back up to the NASDAQ. We don't see any fair value gap in there, do we? Nope. But we start to see NASDAQ turning. So I went in long in close proximity to this order block. Okay, I went in at 14,505. That's inside of this order block. So I'm trading close to it. Now, I promised I wasn't going to teach order blocks that much in this mentorship, and some of you have been leaving comments, oh, I'm not into this now because you're not teaching order blocks. Okay, go watch something else. I'm going to teach it the way I want to teach it. Okay, it works, and you have to get yourself acclimated to how I'm teaching it, or don't watch. Okay, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm not taking suggestions on how to teach you. So if we are expecting a fair value gap to be a launching point for the S&P, and these markets generally move in tandem, I don't need the fair value gap in the NASDAQ because I'm utilizing the S&P as my indicator. What did I just say? The word that should not be spoken. Indicators. Yeah. Even though I don't have them plastered all over my charts like graffiti, you can see the candlesticks in my charts. You can see the logic. You can see how the markets run for liquidity. There's nothing hiding or masquerading price. You can see it. It's clear. You need that. You need to be able to read the story of price and not the story of indicators. So the logic is that S&P low in here was trading down into an old fair value gap over here. in its price swing, but there is no fair value gap in the NASDAQ. See that? Now let's go back down into the S&P. Even my own paid memberships learning something tonight. I should have charged money for this one. Oh, ICT. Fair value gap. Trade down into it there. That's a long for S&P. But I don't want to trade the S&P. So I'm going to use the timing of that candle for my long entry on NASDAQ. Trading what's not in the chart. Hint, hint. Nudge, nudge. So market rallies. And it trades into that short-term high that was seen on, let's go back up, right here. So again, just roughing it around that 44.96, 44.90, we'll just call it 96, 44.96. And that would be right in here, bang. Hits it, sweeps it, accumulates some more, and then rallies even higher, taking out that longer-term old high. All right. What gave me the confidence that this was turning here? Well, let's take a look at the three averages together. If you look at how the market's trading low here on the Dow, this top chart is the Dow futures. The NASDAQ futures is in the middle, and the S&P is at the lower end here. So it's Dow, NASDAQ, S&P. During that decline in the NASDAQ and the S&P, look what the Dow's doing. It's saying, nah, I'm going to sit this one out, boys. It's not willing to make that lower low. Where NASDAQ did, S&P did. When you see that right there, and here's an important thing, you anticipated already. You're not looking for this. This is what some of my students, when they come into my mentorship, they see this pattern, they think, oh, it's diverging, so that means it's going to go the other direction. No. This is something that confirms an idea that you had already established before price does what it's doing real time. What does that mean? You're already looking for a reason to go higher. So that means you're looking at an old low. Does it trade below the old low? Okay. Does it have a shift in market structure that's bullish? Yes, we saw that in the S&P, but we did not see it in NASDAQ. No evidence whatsoever was in NASDAQ this morning with what I'm teaching you. But it was. Listen, it was in the S&P. And no, I don't trade the Dow, but I utilize it like an indicator. It's not plastered all over my chart. I'm referring to it because I have multiple monitors. I'm looking at my screens. I have a screen that shows charts like this. So I'm looking at the relationship of all three averages stacked over top of one another. And if I'm looking at a period of time and an area in price action that maybe is going under accumulation for long positions, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that little fingerprint of the algorithm. What this is indicating is the Dow is unwilling to go lower than that low. That tips off individuals that are looking for cracks in correlation. Okay, correlation would be they are moving lower here, here, and here. But that correlation where they move in tandem together cracks here at a very important time. Right when the NASDAQ and the S&P are trading below its old low. I get questioned all the time. ICT, how do you know it's going to be a fake break below an old low and rally higher, or a fake break above an old high and go lower? Which is what I dub a turtle soup. Now, that's not the same pattern that is taught in Linda Raschke and Larry Connor's book, Street Smarts, which is actually an excellent book. I have my own interpretation of that, which is very easy. It's simple. There isn't I'm not going to teach their pattern. Go buy their book and, support the authors. But the idea is I'm looking for runs above old highs to set up a short position if I have the opposite of this condition here, where maybe the Dow didn't make a higher high, where the S&P and NASDAQ did make a higher high. By itself, it doesn't mean anything. So many students over the years have simply went in there and said, oh, this is magic. I'm going to go just do that. And I unwillingly did the same thing when I first started observing it. I'm like, well, I don't need to do anything else. I just look for this. And it didn't work out well. Okay, I blew accounts. Yes, I'm not ashamed to say it. In the 90s, I blew accounts doing this very thing here, just looking for these divergences. And then I later learned that I have to have some kind of narrative as to why this would even form. And to be honest with you, I don't personally need to see this because I know what I'm looking for. I already know that it's going to create this divergence at the times I'm trying to buy. But as a developing student, you may not have that experience, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you may be trading longer than me. Maybe you've been trading 31 years, there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you don't need this either. But for a developing student, someone that doesn't have a affinity for reading price action naked and not using indicators, these are the best indicators you're ever going to have. You don't need moving averages. You don't need stochastic. You don't need Fibonacci. You don't need any of that stuff. Okay, you don't need it. The only reason why I'm pulling a fib up is to show you where the midpoint is. Have you noticed that? We haven't even talked about optimal trade entry. None of that stuff. I've stripped this down to the chrome. And it's beautiful, is it not? It's easy. It's so simple. It better be easy enough for my daughter to do it. Because if you can't do this one, I don't have anything for her. But nonetheless, I want you to think about how this pattern confirms the accumulation of long positions. Now, let me correct those of you that are going to take this information and run out there and create your own videos or your own little courses or your own little mentorships, okay? Because if you don't do this right, you're going to hurt the people that are listening to you. And I just don't want them to get hurt because of your lack of understanding what's going on. The Dow is not going down because buyers are coming in. That's not what's happening here. That's what authors and book writers and people that don't really trade or code algorithms will have you believe. This is an unwillingness to deliver to that low. This is a macro. A macro is something inside of an algorithm that prevents or enables delivery. Delivery of what? Price. So the Dow is unwilling to go lower here. Okay, by itself means nothing. Does it happen at the same time that the NASDAQ went lower? Yes. At the same time the S&P went lower than that low? Yes. Okay, so let's go back. Here's that old low prior to 8:30. Remember, algorithms run on time and price, not price and time. Multi-level marketers. The low, that's the price, yeah. But you have to refer to time first. What's the important factor of time? 8:30, go to the left. What's the first low? Right there, boom. So there's liquidity below that. It trades below it here. Then wait. Do we get a signal that allows us to hunt what I'm teaching you in this mentorship? There's a swing high. It breaks it there. So now market structure is shifted bullish. Look back through this price leg. There's your fair value gap. Oh, but what happens if it goes down there and it keeps on going? That's what your stop is for. Remember what I said earlier in the video? Some of you are so new. Okay, your infancy as a speculator and trader it's getting in the way of sound logic, because what you're thinking is there's a way for you to trade and never take a loss. There's a way for you to somehow, and this is nowhere near true, that you could enter the market and your stop never needs to be placed because you're right. Because what you're saying is, I'm afraid to be wrong. That's a psychological barrier that you need to get over, because I'm going to show you my live account and there's going to be some negative numbers there. Those negative numbers sometimes are premium payments for me to get more intel. Okay. And with that, let's go into the continuation of this.